Hello and welcome to episode 61 of the Dash Force Free Amigos podcast. I'm Mark Mason, and today we're kicking it old school style with the Free Amigos. So it's been a while since we haven't had a guest on. So really, the main stars of today's podcast are my two fellow amigos, Joel Valenzuela. How are you?
Hey, how's it going? I'm actually not going to be able to make the podcast today. I got to duck out. See you next week. I'm joking.
Always the prankster. There's always one in the team, and we love Joel. And Brian, how are you?
Excellent.
Well, guys, what a week! I mean, I'm almost like emotionally exhausted, but in a good way. So much has happened this week. Dash is actually getting some press. Finally.
Yes. There aren't really details we can share at this point, and of course these kinds of things can evolve as time goes on. However, basically what I can say with confidence is the days of Dash being ignored by the media are going to be over very soon, and we have the hard work of Mark to thank for a lot of it.
Oh, so, it's a team effort, but also as well. Okay,
I'm not going to thank myself though. Come on, what kind of an asshole does that?
Yeah, just blow smoke up each other, hot air. But at the same time, everything is coming together. There's such a good I mean, this is just my personal feeling, but having spoken to core team members, those that saw Ryan Taylor's interview the other week, he was very confident in his approach. There's a very optimistic feeling within the core team that I feel like something magical's happening. Those that attended the Dash conference in London, I've got that feeling again. I think Dash is going to finish really strong in 2018. And even before we talk about some of the stuff that we've got on, because we had quite a few announcements and bits and bobs this week.
Let's talk about the network.
Well, you see the JP Morgan article saying that, there was a research paper. I see lots of crypto publications of publishers saying they've picked the 5 coins and Dash was in them that are going to stick around for the long term, right? Yeah. That their analysts have looked into. That was great. One thing that I've not had a chance to read yet, though, you remember the Palm Beach report? They did a few reports on Dash. There was that big one. They said Dash was going to be
the price to the moon.
Yeah. So so those that are not familiar, they're a paid publication platform, and they kind of give tips. So you should always take everything with a pinch of salt and do your own research, right? This is not financial advice. So, so they did a big article beforehand saying Dash is going to be the PayPal of the cannabis industry, right? And that generated loads of interest. Well, they've just done an interview with, I think it was Glenn Beck, and he said that Dash is going to go up 10 times. I've not had a chance to check it out now. I think it might actually be a video. So this has just happened in the last couple of days. And of course, and I'm going to throw this back to Joel. Now, we can't say what's in the pipeline next week, but
before that, I mean, obviously, there's Palm Beach report said something. I believe, what was it? Bloomberg owns a part of Neptune Dash, I believe. What was that? Let me actually verify that first.
I didn't know that.
I know they bought like a stake or 10% or something. Yeah, I saw a tweet about that.
Yes. So let me actually look into the thing while we keep talking. But basically, for the viewers at home, Neptune Dash was founded as a publicly traded company that exclusively ran Dash masternodes and reinvested in them. And so you could buy shares on the stock market. It started with the Toronto Venture Exchange, and
it's on the Frankfurt
Exchange. I believe
OTC in America.
Yes, I believe that they have expanded to other things. I believe they expanded to other investments as well as Dash, but that was their main thing. That's why they're called Neptune Dash. Their ticker is Dash, right? Their stock ticker is Dash. Fidelity. Fidelity has a 10% share in Neptune Dash.
That's huge, guys. I'm telling you. Something's happening with Dash these last couple of weeks. I'm actually getting DMs and stuff today. Journalists, people are interested. There's something happening. It's coming round, and it's not just Dash Force, it's not just Dash Core, it's the whole thing that's going on. And it's not just what's happening in Venezuela and stuff as well. It's just people are starting to realize the penny's actually finally dropping.
Yes. And then the network scaling thing, I want to get that out of the way because it's like everyone's been sort of talking about that, and then we can go into the cool stuff. So the Dash network, basically Engine, who runs my Dash wallet, added a little thing into my Dash wallet bot where you can just type in a command and generate a bunch of on-chain transactions as a way of doing a stress test. And basically he was like, hey guys, we found a way to generate some extra transactions. And then the bot kept on crashing because everyone in the Dash Nation Discord would just generate 1,000 transactions, generate 1,000 just over and over and over as like an impromptu, completely unplanned stress test. And so we reached almost 600,000 transactions in a 24-hour period, also known as over double what Bitcoin's processing right now and past the highest Bitcoin has ever done back when there were $30 fees or $60 fees or whatever, keeping the Dash transactions really low. The mempool never got bigger, and obviously this wasn't evenly planned out. This was just like people randomly doing stuff. So at some point you have a giant chunk of transactions that weren't meant to be done. And what happened was the mempool never got bigger than like 3.2 or so megabytes, meaning 5 minutes in 2 blocks to clear that. So literally giant unexpected bits of transactions, and the network runs so smoothly. And a lot of this, by the way, is due to the 12.3 upgrade, where the nodes, people's nodes, the CPU usage of the nodes was like even between 10 and 13%, and it didn't really fluctuate during the test. Whereas the 12.2 nodes with 2 CPUs were like 40 to 60% about, and then the 1 CPU 12.2 nodes were almost 100% the whole time. So the optimizations, including compact blocks that were put in with 12.3, really paid out. And of course, Dr. Darren Tapp from ASU, Arizona State University, in his research scaling paper, found out that in order to scale to larger efforts, larger levels, you'd need. He did some testing with compact blocks and XThin. Later on, Dash is moving to XThin, but right now, like just when 12.3 got implemented, they implemented compact blocks, which is completely made the network much easier to scale by making block propagation so much easier. TLDR to all my crappy rambling, Dash just fielded a number of transactions larger than anything other than Ethereum, and then I'm not counting like the Ripples and other coins like that, and handled it perfectly, meaning Dash will be able to scale far beyond Bitcoin on chain easily. We've proven it, and there will be another test somewhere around 12.4, and I'll just ... at that. So hold on to your pants. Dash is here for the big leagues.
Yeah, and this was all done in the midst of an upgrade. That's even more amazing to me. That's crazy.
Joel, you should plug the article as well, because I was actually reading that on the train yesterday. I kind of missed the action. I saw everyone having a field day in Discord talking about it. You guys were having fun. I saw everyone tweeting about it. I think Ryan Taylor even tweeted about it.
Yeah,
the core team tweeted about it.
He had a back and forth with Charlie Lee talking smack, which is pretty good, because Litecoin peaked at 224 or so thousand transactions one day in December, I believe, and during those high volume times, their average fee went in the several dollar range. And what's more, I know some people who were having trouble sending, even broadcasting transactions because there weren't enough nodes, or the nodes were overloaded or whatever. They were not successfully doing it. So Litecoin already failed its teeny stress test.
How many nodes do they have? Does Litecoin have? Do we know?
800, I think.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Oh,
very many. But anyway, the link to this testing article I put in the live chat if you're watching live. But otherwise, you can look it up on dashforcenews.com, your number one source for all news, Dash. And anyway, Mark had an even more exciting week as far as I'm able to tell.
But it was a hair-raising experience.
Yeah, it blew his hair off. You see his eyebrows are starting to thin out too, so it must have been quite the hell of a week.
Yeah. I just feel like emotionally drained. Yesterday for me, if you're not following me on Twitter at StayDashy or at Dashforce News on Twitter,
if you're not that, you're a Monero troll. Sorry.
Shame. I don't have the bell, but I need one of those. Yeah. So yesterday was one of the proudest moments of my life. I was invited to go to the Houses of Parliament to speak in a committee room full of diplomats, MPs from different governments, ambassadors, royalty. I'd probably say there was close to 100 people in the room. So how this all came about was I have a very old friend that I've known since I was a teenager.
What, like 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s?
I don't want to give away my age too much, but
fun fact: Mark Mason turns 112 this week.
Benjamin Button.
And blockchains are really, it's a buzzword right now. And this event that was happening, it's the I should probably give them a shout out because they invited me and they hooked me up. So it was the Diplomat Business Club, and you can go to diplomatbusinessclub.com and you'll see exactly what it's all about. So that the main focus is kind of like the UAE, but this particular event was about invest in Bahrain. So they had all kinds of foreign investors over, and I got to give a speech. And I only really knew the day before that I had to give a talk, because it was like, it was kind of like, well, you're just attending. It's like a network event, which was exciting enough as it was. But this room is the one that the Prime Minister actually has her cabinet meetings in. Like, it was, this is another world. I mean, I don't think it actually gets any bigger than that. But anyway, so the day before, I was talking to Brian and Joel and just saying, like, guys, I meant to give like a 5-minute speech. They want to know about blockchain, Dash in general, but of course most people there don't know anything, so you got to kind of do it right. Now, it wasn't that I was nervous, it's just it's such a huge opportunity that I wanted to do things right, and I didn't know how things would go, because there were business leaders there, there were bankers there, there were regulators there, there were people from JP Morgan there. It was crazy. So I started off my talk just to say, like, half the world's population is unbanked. Think about that for a moment. And I just left a pause. And then I was like, what if a solution to that problem would be to unbank the half that are banked? And like kind of gave like a cheeky smile, and everyone's kind of like, what's going on here? And then I went into blockchain. So I won't go into the whole speech.
Yes. So it seems like he made excellent use of pauses, play into the pauses, and excellent use of the what if. So fantastic idea you got there to do that. It's very
Joel actually gave me a few good pointers going in, and I purposely did that. So I thought I was going to be nervous just because of the people that I'm with. Like, I've seen these politicians and MPs on TV, members of parliament were there. And I was so lucky because there was kind of like a ceremony where they're giving out certificates of appreciation to members, because they meet in Dubai, all over the place. These are very esteemed people that are all about international trade. So literally, there was a presentation on Invest in Bahrain, which was about 10 minutes long. Then there was a ceremony, and then I was the guest speaker. So I spoke for probably about 8 minutes in general, because I was really using the pauses to my advantage to make sure that I was speaking clearly and everyone could fully understand what I was conveying to put across.
No matter mental acuity, they could all understand, be part of blockchain.
And it was perfect, because directly after my speech, that's when the networking session started. So I walked away, everyone was clapping. And when I actually finished off my talk, I brought it back round to the whole unbanked thing. So I spoke about Joel and people in New Hampshire actually living off Dash like 100%. But I also spoke about Zimbabwe, Ghana, Nigeria, and also Venezuela. And I saw people's eyes just light up. And when I came away, people were like clapping, and people are actually lining up to talk to me. My right pocket of my suit is just full of cards. I've got so many people that I've got to go back. And like, these people, I mean, I can't, obviously, there's still emails and stuff I need to reply to and speak to a lot of people, so I can't say stuff there. Afterwards, I went to, had a nice Thai dinner, had some social drinks with some business leaders, CEOs of some really, really interesting companies. Obviously, I can't disclose who they are because Obviously,
But you can disclose that they'll all be taking Dash by Monday.
And drink stuff like, I don't want to compromise those positions and confidentiality, but it's amazing. People are really getting this, and I can't wait to get off this hangout, because I'm going to tell some of the guys some of the opportunities. And
so you just told your audience that you can't wait to stop the show. So get out of here while you're ahead.
Because look, I'm actually feeling a bit poorly, because I'm feeling really drained this week. With the whole PR thing, which is actually I should probably talk about as well. But please prompt me after this, and me and Joe can go in a bit more detail, because we haven't really made that public yet. I did do a video just for people watching for the Masternode only channel in Discord, because essentially they're our employers. And I had to get that proof by the PR company. So here's the situation. Myself and Joel and Brian have discussed for a long time now, and the community in general, that Dash needs more external media exposure. And Joel is a phenomenal writer, and I think everyone here watching would agree. And having
I bet you could find a couple people there that'd be like, man, this guy stuff is NBG, no bloody good.
And we listened to the network's concerns, and maybe I can make that video public. I'd need to speak, because I've had to sign a contract on behalf of Dash Force, and there is a confidentiality clause. So I need to make sure what I'm allowed to say and what I'm not allowed to say. But in general, it's really exciting, folks. And this isn't going to interfere with Core or Waxman PR's efforts. Everything's in sync. In fact, Joel, myself, Brian, and the Dash Force editorial team are in a position of power, because we actually receive press releases, not just from Waxman PR, Block Cipher, and other external things. And plus, we generate our own and our news stories. So we know everything. So there's no fear or risk of double reporting or any crossfire, because essentially we are the internal news for Dash, voted by the Masternode network, right? So anyway, really, really exciting stuff. And we've got the first press release coming up, and already there's a lot of interest. So next week, I'm really excited. So guys, the Dashing In is a happening. So it wasn't just the House of Parliament. We have been working really hard, and we didn't do this willy-nilly. We all sat down and had countless meetings, so many email exchanges last week, even talking, contracts and agreements. You just go back and forth. And me and Joel actually spoke to a number of different PR media companies, because we wanted to make sure we're doing it right. And you have to actually understand the history of Dash. And if you talk to PR companies, they always have different packages, and they kind of have the same lingo. We can do rebranding. We could do this. Like, no, we don't want that. We want to cherry pick these. Like, we know what we're doing. We want to write the press releases, everything else, but we need you to do these things.
Yeah. And so part of this thing, I should emphasize with this whole PR journey, is we decided that we needed to get Dash more exposure outside of our insular little world. And so Mark and I kind of went to the ground, grassroots, reading so many articles and things like that on how the PR system works, what PR agencies use, what to look for, what not to look for to get into it. So when we were talking to a PR firm, it wasn't, oh, well, we want more exposure. You want to take our money and then see what you want to do. Like we knew exactly what we wanted, and we had specific questions about how that would get done and what elements of that. And then we literally had like an educational, it was like, because it was talking with professionals about, this is exactly what we know and where we're at. And then they let us know exactly what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. And it's like, not like this whole, oh, we'll take care of you, bro, kind of thing. It's like business partners. It almost feel like they're part of the team now, like instantly. And by the way, shout out to Danny Sessom, Danny the Crypto Show, for getting us in there. Danny,
that man's got the hookup. He's got all the connections.
Yes, Danny is, which by the way, I was trying to get on the Joe Rogan podcast earlier this week via Twitter, just tweeting, hey, you should have me on, all this kind of stuff. And then within 2 seconds, Danny just sends me Doug Stanhope's email. And basically and so Doug Stanhope is another comedian, and he was on the Joe Rogan podcast to talk about, they were talking about a thing, and that sparked the discussion. But it's like, just I would be surprised if Danny didn't have like everyone's personal email kind of thing. Like Danny is the hookup man, and he is that came out wrong. But Danny is the guy, the networker. Danny is ridiculously undervalued by the Dash network, and I mean, I'm gonna say part of it is his fault because, and if you're listening, Danny, yeah, you need to do a better job of telling people everything that you're up to. People don't really know. They just think, oh, this is for a show sponsorship and he's going to try to build a house in Mexico or something. But it's like so much more than that. He's been to all these events with us. And just anytime you just give him a shout out, he's like, well, I could do that. I could do this. I could do the other thing. And then it just, yeah, it's really, yeah. Danny helped us get started on this, which reminds me of one thing I'd like to emphasize before we go back on to rambling about how the world's amazing today. The Dash community needs to meet up in person more often and needs to work together more often, needs to send each other cross-promotional materials, needs to say, if you are watching and you have anything cool you're doing with Dash in your area or whatever, get in contact with Dash Force News and we'll get it published. We'll get something written up if it's newsworthy on our site. If not, if it's more newsworthy, we just get it sent out to the rest. I mean, yeah, the reason we have to work together on all this, and I don't think the Dash community works together enough. And we're going to be working together more, collaborating more, because the Dash community can be an absolutely unstoppable asset if we just all get everything fine-tuned and just go forward. And I think this is the beginning of that. It's going to be a great year.
Yeah, there's also another announcement on a project I've been working on that should be probably towards the end of the month, but it will be very complementary to the new PR thing. And I think between the two, the media blackout on Dash will be over. I think it's coming to an end.
Yeah,
very good.
Sorry to be like a boomerang and go back to the Houses and Parliament thing.
No, that's the big news story this year. I mean, for the viewers on the US side, it's basically like Mark did the equivalent of testify before Congress about Dash.
Yeah.
That's pretty big.
How long was the speech? And I've only seen the 2-minute video. Is there a full?
Yeah, so I have an audio recording. Obviously, in the House of Parliament, I had to go through security checks. You had to take off my belt. It's like going through an airport thing going in. And as you was coming up to the committee rooms, there's signs to take no photos. Now, I guess some special people were taking photos, but they actually had official, kind of like paparazzi.
You're not supposed to call them
that. Photographers there, like, taking photos, and I'm guessing they're for the event or the Diplomats magazine, I believe, because of all the people, the key individuals that were there. So when I'm there just by myself, obviously, I had a friend, made some connections, and when I was sitting there by myself, and I didn't know what I was walking into, what to expect. And I was sitting down, and you kind of got these rows, right? I don't know if you've ever seen like video of the Parliament. So you got like these rows where you sit on, and they kind of go up, and you have like initially in front of the stage, there's about 20 to 30, maybe 40 people on each side, but you have like all these little microphones hanging from the ceiling. So when the event started, I'm just thinking to myself, what do I just stand up and like, do I just talk here, or are they going to invite me up? I don't know what's going on, because it's all very like regal, and it's just the history of the place. And something happened, because when I was looking around the room, I could see people. I think I was probably one of the youngest people in the room, if I'm honest. And I was just thinking, I don't know if these people are going to get it. They had someone that was former JP Morgan up on the stage and stuff as well. And I was just thinking, I'm here going to be talking about decentralization, and why centralization is a bad thing. With not using the term dinosaur paper money, even though it was screaming in my head. I wanted to be as official as possible. But literally 5 minutes before I came up, I didn't even know when I was going to be announced to speak. I just had this air of confidence. And what it was, I was thinking about what I'm just about to say in the speech. And there was one section where I essentially say, like, what is blockchain? What is Dash? And how does Dash relate to the blockchain? And then I answered the question, which everyone always asks when you tell people about Dash. Where can I buy? Where can I spend? What gives it value? You know, what is this magical internet paper money? And I literally went down through all these integrations that we've done, almost like A4 page list of things. And it was amazing just going through. Even when I mentioned about, you remember NREL, the US Department of Energy, utilizing Dash blockchain? People just sat up and turned around and started looking at me. And when I spoke about Venezuela, the businesses, the ATMs, I mean, guys, a lot of people forgot this stuff. So you asked me about my speech, and obviously someone kindly passed on some footage that they did record, but it's only 2 minutes long. What I will do is over the weekend, I will upload an 8-minute audio video on YouTube, and I'll try and add some images that reflects the stuff that I'm saying, just so it's not boring with like a static image. Maybe I can just do like a kind of slideshow as I'm talking.
How good's the quality of the audio? Is it like well recorded?
Yeah,
or is it just more?
Yeah, it's much better. It's much better in that video. I mean, the video you can make it what I'm saying. You do have to crank the volume all the way up, but I think this would be much better. And I didn't actually know if people will actually be interested in listening to the speech, because sometimes they're kind of like, what did you get out of it? Did people like it?
Okay, so here's an idea live on air, right? Why don't you give it to Danny so his son can make it with some background music and put together a little cool video about it?
I'm pleased you raised that point, actually. I spoke to Danny about this week. So those not seen, Danny, son, I believe, has made that Dash evolution video, and it's animated, and it's just about, I think it's 1.5 minutes, and Chuck Williams narrates, does the narration. It's so well done.
Use all that kind of stuff.
And my understanding was, because we spoke about this at Porkfest when I was with Danny, that there was going to be free videos. So I was kind of saying, like, Danny, when's the next video coming out? The first one was so good. You kind of got me excited now. I think he's looking at doing, obviously he's got a proposal up, right? I think now. So that he's focusing on that. But I think maybe it's going to be on a monthly basis. But Danny does a phenomenal job across the board. So yeah, that's great. But guys, some of the things, I've got a piece of paper because I made loads of notes, but I bet you've even forgot about some of these integrations that Dash has done. And I don't want to ruin my speech too much.
Well,
but
we probably need an updated article. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know when the last one we did was, but yeah, there's a lot. Rattle them off.
Well, obviously, recently we're thinking about rewards.com, and that excited a lot of people as well. And it was a good mix in the crowd as well, demographics to male and female. Do you remember that Dash is available at 400 post offices in Austria? Do you remember that you can buy Dash at 9,000 kiosks in Ukraine?
Yeah, I do.
Do you remember the whole BitNovo? You can buy Dash at over 10,000 Spanish retailers. The BitNovo gift
with
cards.
You and also with you.
Yeah. Obviously, there's the Alt 36, which I mentioned, about not just the dispensaries, but suppliers and distributors as well. So eventually, there's going to be what Ken Ramirez has said, who is the CEO of Alt 36, is that once there were their partnerships and things, they should be close to what they're aiming for 4,000 things, which is phenomenal. And that's why we're talking about that Palm Beach report earlier, saying Dash is going to be the the PayPal of the cannabis industry. Now, I was a bit cautious when I mentioned cannabis, and I could see some people screwing up the face. Obviously, I said legal cannabis, and obviously it's kind of still a bit of a taboo subject in the UK. We obviously in the States you have a number of states that where it's legalized and not. However, I pointed out about Forbes and stuff afterwards, saying that Forbes have predicted that it's going to be a $31 billion industry a year. And Dash right now has a $2 billion market cap. That's over 15 times the Dash market cap right now. Hashtag do the math. I didn't say that, but once again, people were starting to take notice. So, the other one as well, you can get paid your salary, people, in Dash, thanks to the partnership with Bitwage and Uphold. Everyone always forgets that. You can get a sort code and an account number, so you can get paid in Dash, people.
Do we still have that thing in Australia where you could pay all your electric bills and all that? Yeah, what is that?
Living Room of Satoshi. Let me see if I know. So,
you pay
I know that they
bills, taxes. I think
I know.
all kinds of stuff.
I know they allowed a lot of bill paying originally with Dash, but then they add a whole bunch. Yes, they do
Yeah.
appear to take Dash. They take a so this is interesting because looking at the list of things that they take, I actually learned something today. So they take Bitcoin, Lightning. I guess that means Bitcoin Lightning Network, Ethereum, Litecoin, Dash, Ripple, BCH, which they wouldn't call Bitcoin Cash, whatever. Monero, NEM, Ethereum Classic, Zcash, PIVX, Dogecoin, and Bitcore. What the ever-loving love is Bitcore? Like, you learn about a new shitcoin every day. I'm saying, like, seriously.
We're talking about new revelations. We got to give a shout out to Albert.
Speaking of which, one last time about Australia. Some big news coming out of there soon.
And Brisbane Airport, remember? Literally, Brisbane Airport accepts cryptocurrency. So in the airport, all the vendors, all the merchants accept Dash in that airport. Fantastic.
Which means that's where I'll have to visit if I ever go to Australia.
Yeah. So I learned something new today, thanks to Albert, who is our who helps manages the contest, but also Discover Dash. He manages the live support, and he's been doing a great job with the listings as well. But Albert told me something today that I didn't even know. And one of the announcements of integrations and partnerships that I had was I spoke about bitrefill.com, because they support over 600 operators in 150 countries. But not only that, you can buy gaming vouchers, Xbox. Now, it depends which country you're in, that you can get Skype credit, all kinds of things. But it depends which country. If you're United Kingdom, you get different options. If you're in the United States, wow, it's win-win, because you get loads of options. And Albert sent us a message today in our private work Slack saying that he bought an Amazon gift card on bitrefill.com with Dash and got 10% off Amazon. So the deal with Bitrefill right now is that when the announcement was made that they're accepting Dash, I believe Bradley Zastro and the business development team of Dash Core either gave them some funding for a limited time, that if you top up your phone credit, you can save 10% in Dash to kind of start that liquidity and get people using it, right? And make them aware of the service. So even people want to buy like Steam vouchers international, you can still do that in the UK. You can save big money right now. And so I was surprised. I didn't know this offer was still on, still going. So people, Amazon, you can save 10% off Amazon. What can't you buy on Amazon is the question.
Yeah, we may need to have a little note. I saw Macrochip mentioned it as well. I think that there's a fee associated with it, but it's not necessarily like if you pay $100 for a gift card, you're not going to pay $90 for $100. I think there's a fee. Is that right? Do y'all know how it works? It is 10% off, but it's I think it's off the bit refill fee or something.
All I know is Albert's a big fan, because it's not the first time he's made a purchase. I think he's bought Steam vouchers, Xbox vouchers, you name it. He's a big e-gamer, so he loves that stuff. Wow, I spoke to this person yesterday. I can't tell you the government, but there was e-gaming stuff, and I'm so excited about this. So next week, I'm going to try and speak with. Things are going really well. There was never any issues between Dash Force and Dash Core. Like, everyone's excited right now, and it almost feels like when Bob Carroll came in, the new CTO, there's this new energy and excitement. It was kind of like, you remember when they had the developers all come together for Hong Kong for that work camp, when they all came together, and afterwards everyone felt like re-energized and excited for the future. There's something in the air, and yeah, so everything's going great with Ryan Taylor. So I'm going to sit down with him, speak to Bradley as well about some of these opportunities, and we can prioritize and pinpoint what we do, because right now we have so many options just from yesterday that I don't think, well, we actually in a power position to prioritize and choose which ones we want to do, because I don't think we actually have the capacity and resources to do everything. So I can't wait to have this conversation. And also, Fernando, I know people keep asking about the Dash News refresh. Fernando is doing so much work behind the scenes. I speak to Fernando a lot, and they've got a design house working on this. It's been going on for a while. Fernando's doing a great job, and he's working around the clock. So please, people, if you are in the Discord community, go easy. I see people just keep complaining about nonsensical things. It's like it is something is coming. It's in the works. Just be patient. And also, it's the 20th today. So as Brian Taylor said when he was on the Free Amigos the other week, that there's the quarterly summary call coming soon, and they're hoping to coincide the roadmap with that as well. So we have everything is just around the corner. Just a little patience, please.
Yeah, here's what Macrochip had said on the thing. He says you're not saving 10% at Amazon. The 10% discount is only the premium from Bit Refill you'd pay on other currencies otherwise. He says when he bought a $50 Amazon gift card, the converted price was exactly $50. He said without the discount, it would have been $55. So you do save over all the other cryptos.
Yeah. So speaking of all that, and I tweeted about this, I don't expect everyone to be on Twitter. So last night, I'm going on a vacation in San Diego some point this year. And so I booked my flight with Dash, and I booked the hotel with Dash through hotels.com gift cards bought on Bitrefill. And I also, all these Android charger phones, the cables keep on dying on me. So I bought a 3-pack from overstock.com, paid directly in Dash because they stopped using Shapeshift for their conversions. Now they use coin payments, so they take Dash directly. And
we've not done an article on this yet, have we? I mean, Overstock's huge.
Then I bought gas cards from Amazon using Bitrefill to get Amazon gift cards. So now I can fuel up my car with Dash. All those things with Dash yesterday. And I have to yet to see if it works, but I did all that through rewards.com, which supports all of those. So I might be getting like 3 to 5% Dash back in all that stuff I just paid with Dash on. So we're living in the future as well. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and as Mark showed me that they're through the rewards.com, there's an Amazon link. I still haven't figured out exactly what the discount is, but
yeah, they don't tell you.
I've used it. I'm signed up. I guess we'll see.
Yeah. There's so much great stuff right now. Just rewards.com in general. Every time I tweet about it, everyone likes it because it's kind of like they just get that reminder. It's like, wow, you can literally buy anything you want. I think they say they've got over 100 million products that list just for all the merchants on there. Just literally whatever you want.
And what are they planning to do later this year? Talk about that.
So I know they're developing a mobile app. I know they've got a roadmap, but essentially a lot of the stuff is online now. So it's kind of like tracking. So you click through the merchant that you want to purchase, and it kind of tracks that with that affiliate link, and that's how it knows that you're doing that purchase. So they can record it, right? That you've made that purchase. But for places like Walmart that accept it, my understanding is that they're going to have a mobile app, even for the cashier. So if you're purchasing in store, you can scan literally as you're purchasing and get Dash back. So you can, when you buy in your groceries or whatever, you can earn Dash actually in store, brick and mortar, as well as online as well. This is going to open up so many avenues. And I think right now, they've told me that they're redesigning the website. There's a refresh in motion. It's going to completely change and be much more efficient. Right now, it's not rudimentary. It's just in terms of usability, the UI and user experience could be a little bit better. However, it's fully functional and fully works. And setting up an account is so simple. You just sign up, create a username, password, go to user account, and it says like, how do you want it? So initially, you can choose to have PayPal, or and there's another option. You might have to link a bank card, or you can choose Dash. So you just click Dash, and it says enter your Dash address. Boom. That's it. And then whenever you do something, the Dashback redeemed shows up from when you're there. Now, each merchant kind of has different affiliate schemes. So it can go up to like 30, 40 days for what things come. But it depends on the merchant and their payback loyalty program, which is standard across any payback. And the loyalty points industry, we're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars. Most people get air miles or gift cards, and people lose it. So the fact that you can actually get money from it just by buying things that you normally would be buying, just like plane tickets or cheapair.com, or hotels when I have to book accommodation. I would be doing that anyway. So I'm, with hotels.com, I save 5% on my hotel bookings. And if, I'm staying somewhere for a week or so, that's a lot of money to save. And I'm getting that back in Dash. What's not to love? And what other cryptos doing this right now? Rewards.com is exclusive to Dash right now. It's the only thing that they offer. So this is
reward token. Anyway, that's one thing a lot of people don't really understand is that you have to incentivize people to use crypto. And this is where I'm going to get into a mini hater rant, which I'm sorry. I like to be a nice, positive person. I'm going to go slightly negative, go all Fox News on people. Anyway, a lot of people keep hyping things like the Lightning Network. Like, oh, it's mainnet, it's working now. There's a bunch of nodes, all this and that and stuff. And it just, people are going to use this. That's the biggest. And here, I'm not going to try to say it doesn't work or, it sucks or whatever. I'm not going to talk about that. I was just talking about, does it work for Bitcoin users? I don't care. Does it work for the rest of the world? So first off, routing problems unless you go through a centralized hub. Who is going to, like, I remember the first Bitcoin wallet or Dash wallet you set someone up with, and you're like, here, let me send you some. Like, can you imagine if there's a routing error? Like, just that problem with that, and then the infrastructure you have to set up. And how can you get people, how will people just be like, I'm going to use Bitcoin because all these nerds say it's the best. And then I'm going to set up a Lightning node or get up with this thing so I can pay with stuff. And I bought my book with Lightning. Okay, great. I bought with Lightning. And it's like, well, what about hard business world? What about how is this better than other forms of payment? I already have bank transfer type stuff. It's like, well, with Dash, it can be a fraction of a cent to send. You instantly gets confirmed and is permanent. There's no outage. You don't have to be running a Lightning node all the time. It just works. And also, Dash has all these partnerships with all these payment companies. All these companies with incentives, etc. And for example, with AnyPay, Dash, there's a Dash back that incentivizes people at the point of sales. And then BitRefill, you got that 10% right now. Rewards.com some of these rewards.com sites were up to 12% Dash back. So I think one of them was like a shoe store. So if you buy like $100 pair of shoes and you get like $12 back in Dash from that, that's a lot. Like this is the real world we live in. And in the spirit of hating, I would like to, a quote from the Gospel of Ryan Taylor. Ryan Taylor has been doing. I remember we had a conversation a long time ago. We were talking in general about the core team about being more public in their communications, not like transparent with Dash community, but like more out there in the general public, getting attention. And I told Ryan Taylor a few times you should be on Twitter a lot more. And to his credit, he is on Twitter a whole lot more, and it's turning out really well. And so he did a tweet about the Dash network capacity. He said, what's more is the network accomplished this stress test with mean transaction fees of a fraction of a cent, at least 4 times cheaper than Bitcoin Cash or Litecoin currently, at many times transaction loads. And he said, then someone tagged Charlie Lee, Litecoin's founder, in there. Like, what do you think of this? And he started throwing some salt, saying, when you're doing a stress test, you create transactions with the lowest fees possible so they all make it into the block. That's not how real life works. In real life scenarios with full blocks, users will compete to get in the next block and bid with higher fees. To which Ryan replied, resigning your network to higher fees with full blocks is akin to Visa saying, we'll clamp down on demand with high fees when our network is at capacity. Increase capacity to address the demand or lose market share. We've already proven that this is possible with research from ASU. That is how the real world works.
Yeah, it's Ryan. Please keep tweeting.
Bravo, Ryan. Right, you're doing well. I love that. Like, people throw in this like especially like blockchain people. It's such a troll fest a little bit in the cryptoverse where everyone's like, I got this new project I want to hype. I'm doing this stuff. I'm doing that stuff. It's so cool. And then they just start saying, well, but according to this and that, decentralization, this and that, and like all this kind of stuff, and in the meantime, they have no idea how to get real people using it in the real world, and more importantly, they don't care. And then you have Ryan Taylor, who, to his eternal credit, is not from the cryptoverse originally, and he doesn't forget that. It's not like a Tone Vase type who's like, oh, I used to work at Wall Street, and then he's like, he still has that sort of ignorant perspective of not real world. Oh, people will use Bitcoin because, without going back to his real world knowledge. And so, like, I'm from the real world before crypto. Mark's from the real world. Brian's from the real world. Ryan Taylor, the whole core team, as far as I know, except for even Evan, had a background in finance. Like, as in, Evan is about as, like, as you say, nerdy coder blockchain dude as you can get as far as Dash is concerned. But that's what makes Dash different, is that Dash has a real world background. And I suspect that Satoshi, whoever he or she or they may be, had a real world background as well, because Bitcoin is exceptional technology, but it's not just a technology. It's clearly designed from a point of view of, we want to affect these things in the real world, and we have a plan to make that happen. And then somewhere along the way, you got a bunch of like coder nerds who jumped in on Bitcoin and started designing stuff that doesn't interface with the real world like that. And Dash still keeps Satoshi's vision of, let's make a peer-to-peer, decentralized electronic cash system that works for everyone, particularly the third world and the unbanked, not the people that don't need this kind of thing. And Dash still has that vision, and you can just see everyone involved in Dash, or everyone I know. There might be some losers involved who don't think this way, but everyone I know of in Dash is just like, let's get this to interface with the real world, because we don't want Dash to be a niche project. We want Dash to be everywhere. So far, it's doing amazing.
I'm so proud you said that, Joel. And I know Brian was very excited for me, just the possibilities and opportunities that House of Parliament. But there was one common theme when people come to speak to me afterwards. One of the points I put in my presentation was that I mentioned that the global remittances market is projected to be over $500 billion this year. Now, considering the people that I was talking to handle international trade, so large sums of money, and when I pointed this out, and Venezuela and Zimbabwe, things that are going on, the movement in Nigeria, Ghana, all the things that we've got, there was a constant pattern with business leaders where they're saying, we do international trade. So when you're dealing with other clients, sometimes you've got to trade in dollars, euros, pounds, whatever, right? But there's always all these, transfer and exchange fees and everything else. And they were just so blown away by what I was saying by the 1 penny fee within Dash, and instant as well. So like that alone surprised me, because I thought that, it was a real mixed bag. There was so many different types of business and industries, but fintech had a predominant thing, and that's why I'm particularly interested to follow up on a lot of this stuff. So I just wanted to follow on from what Joel was saying. People really overestimate the business world and international trade. People were losing a lot of money. Okay, Joel, Brian, yes. They love UFC, MMA, and Joel, you might have a better memory than this. I think we went on Chael Sonnen's YouTube channel.
Yes,
and we was talking about the fighting world, and Chael Sonnen just said, if you're an athlete, where you're a wrestler, a boxer, or an MMA fighter, and you're fighting on the world stage, right? You're at the top of your game. You're traveling around the world to these events, and you get paid, whether it's in dollars, everything else. Now, these people are international stars, and they were having to send money back home. But they get their check at the end of the fight, and then they lose loads of money when they're trying to send money back home to their friends and family, or back to their own, converted back into their own local currency. And he was telling me stories, of Mike Tyson and everything else, saying it's a big issue, and that's why we got people like Rory McDonald and Chael Sonnen, who's superstars in their own field, saying like, hey, you know what? I don't want to be paid in US dollars anymore. I actually want to be paid in cryptocurrency, because it's a borderless digital currency. I don't have to worry about this.
That's the thing that we don't. We're in this awkward stage. We're kind of out of it, but we were in this awkward. We're getting out of it, but we're in this awkward stage where it's like cryptocurrency doesn't quite have the infrastructure set up, and it's kind of clunky to use, not because the crypto doesn't work, but because the business around it doesn't work as well. We're starting to pull out of it to where now you can just kind of, there was this golden moment, which is, by the way, when I started living partially on Bitcoin in 2013, all on Bitcoin in 2015, and no bank account in 2016. That whole and then to where at the end, by the end of the year 2016, I couldn't live on Bitcoin anymore because the fees and transaction times are too high. And when I had that moment of, I have to decide, am I going to switch? When I'm going to give up on this experiment and go back and ask for my bank account back? Or am I going to try to keep going? What made me decide to keep going, which made me look down the list and find Dash and start using it, was how far Bitcoin got. Because I had a lot of success, right? There was the local farmer who I was renting from. He's literally a farmer. I was renting a room from him. He wanted to take. He knew about Bitcoin and he wanted to take it. We never got used. By the time I got around to being able to talk to him to set up, I didn't talk to him because it was starting to become expensive and terrible. I didn't want to do that experience for him. But so the farmer was going to take it. I could do everything on purse.io really easily. I could do all my Amazon stuff. I could, pay for it around town. All the gift card services were really up to speed. Everything was locking into place to where I'm like, this is it, guys. You give it another year, everyone can use Bitcoin. And then Bitcoin gave up on us. And it's because of how close we got that I decided to give it a shot with Dash. I'm like, oh, dude, all you have to do is just get the old services to switch over to Dash and then just get that momentum going again. And I mean, unfortunately, Bitcoin Cash if Bitcoin Cash had been at the split, like right in late 2016, I probably wouldn't have cared too much about Dash because of the timing. But there was a whole long year when we had to pick up the slack before Bitcoin Cash got its, together by coming into existence, right? It's so we're getting to that point where crypto in general is starting to get ready, primed for mass explosion, but none of them are ready. Dash is the only one that's ready, as we just saw with the stress test. Bitcoin Cash possibly, but it's still there's still a whole bunch of issues with trying to sort out a universal address format and trying to sort out BIP70 on wallets, which not all wallets with Bitcoin Cash can pay at BitPay invoices and stuff like that. There's a bunch of stuff to figure out around Bitcoin Cash, and I'm not counting them out, by the way, because to their good credit, they're doing a lot of what Dash is doing. That's how I'm going to phrase it. But
they have no master nodes, though. They have no governance. They have no instance, and there's so much that they're lacking.
Yes. So I think they're behind the game personally, and it's not a knock on it because everything was behind the game. I was into a Bitcoin which was inferior to Bitcoin Cash today, so no knock on that. I'm just saying specifically Dash is just ready to be taken everywhere. It's just ready to be used everywhere. Everything is locking into place. Just give it to the end of the year. And that's the thing is, I don't think enough people realize I used to rant about evolosers or evolution losers who just loop with a loser mentality of we're never going to get anywhere don't even try until evolution comes out. But thanks to people who don't believe that, we've gotten enough of a groundwork that by the time evolution comes out, MVP this year, let's hope, that now you'll be able to just say, you'll be able to seal the deal. You'll be able to say, there is no better digital cash out there than Dash. We have the best adoption. We have the best name recognition pretty soon. I mean, working on that, huh, Mark? Yeah. And by next week, no, just kidding. But we're working on that. Dash has the best infrastructure, has the best network set up to handle this whole thing, has everything set up. And guess what? Now it's easier to use than anything. And here's the thing I was thinking about. When your credit card processor goes down, like you have a service disruption, every payment processor has service disruptions. It's just how third-party systems work. Then you're screwed. You can't take cards. Sorry. If you consider your credit card processor your USD processor or your GBP or your Euro processor, you just, our card machine is down, we have to have cash. Okay, well then you can use the cash version. With Dash, or rather with any cryptocurrency that doesn't require a Lightning Network or something, if your payment processor is down, you can still do it old school. Like, any pay is down, and then I'll take it to my personal wallet or whatever. We'll do this in the meantime. You can still do peer-to-peer digital cash, peer-to-peer. And with Evolution, from my understanding, and this is all going to be really, this will all be way bigger when this actually comes out. But my understanding is you'll be able to have an easily accessible portal, like a front end that won't go down, even if the payment processor goes down. So you'll be able to just open up your Evolution portal and like your business Evolution front end wallet, and you'll be able to just pay to that business username and invoice through it when the system is down, when the point of sale, when BlockCipher isn't working right now, when whatever else is just not working. Like, people don't understand how huge that's also a global first. Yeah. And it's decentralized.
It's a decentralized SPV, basically. Yeah. So as long as the Dash network itself is working, then payments will be working. Yeah.
I've got a question for Brian. So only because when I talk about price and things with Joel, he always makes me do bets with him. So Brian's pretty good with projections because he's always looking at the supply and demand of Dash, what's happening on the markets. So Brian, my question to you is, do you think Dash will be in the top 10 again soon on coinmarketcap.com?
Well, an hour or so ago, it was 12. An hour ago, so it was 12. Now I think it's 14. Just, the back and forth. Tether's number 10, so that's kind of how terrible the market is right now.
Yeah, we just had a huge dump. It looks like somebody dumped about 10,000 or so Dash just since we started the show.
But I've just got this feeling. I mean, I honestly believe that this isn't financial advice. These are our own personal opinions. But I personally believe that cryptocurrency in general is going to finish this year very strong, and I actually feel more bullish on Dash, and I'm the biggest Dash cheerleader ever. I am feeling really, really strong. I'm telling you, the sentiment within the core team right now is so strong. They're so excited to reveal something like hashtag Team Ryan. They've got a lot of stuff going on at the moment, and I feel their pain because they want to reveal so much, but at the same time they can't, and they have to, and they're doing it for the right reasons.
Let me just say my take on the core team. I believe they're doing an excellent job. That's the TLDR of it. There's a lot of nuance to that answer, of course. I don't know if I agree with all kinds of angles, if everything that you've done is good. Definitely, I think the communication in the past has been pretty abysmal, and now is okay. It's mostly positive. It's doing well. But we should be grateful that first off, we have a team we can trust. And this is like, we're talking about trustlessness and stuff. You don't have to trust the Dash network. You don't have to trust that miners or masters and all that will do their job. And you don't have to trust developers to put out the best code because you can audit the code in an open source project. But there is an element of trust to the human aspects of it. Like, you have to trust the Bitcoin core team to tell people that they'll put out the best product that will allow the network to scale, etc., which so far they've proved to be absolutely untrustworthy. You have to trust that someone will develop on Litecoin, which you have to trust that all kinds of stuff. The core, and also in the DAO, there's been a lot of scammers that have gotten defunded, or rather, let's take the dark side of that. A lot of scammers who've gotten funded before they were outed and gotten kicked out. Are we glad we don't have to worry about that with the core team? That doesn't mean we don't have some accountability, but they are hardworking, passionate professionals, consummate professionals, and they have a lot of expertise that no one in the crypto space has, which will get it used in the real world. And they're working their asses off. They're doing a great job at everything they're doing. The 12.3 update and how smooth the whole network ran on that massive completely unplanned stress test was just a sign of just how well they develop. And by the way, shout out to a certain extent to the Bitcoin core team, because according to a couple Dash developers, a lot of the optimizations that happened in 12.3 were ported over from the Bitcoin Core code. So there's a lot of good stuff that's coming from that direction, as much as I don't agree with a lot of it. But yeah, core team is doing a fantastic job. Please keep on keeping them accountable and making sure that they deliver on their promises, and making sure that you don't rubber stamp all their projects, but just know that they're doing a good job in general.
Yeah, I think they've just finally got the whole team and everybody, Bob Carroll, everybody's just now kind of getting in place. So I expect to see even bigger things for them. Also, the miners need a kick in the ass because they're not updating very quickly. Last I saw was like 50%. So
Wow.
yeah, we need to probably send some Tungfa or Ryan needs to send some messages out to the, I don't know, exchange, and maybe do it again. I'm sure they did it once before, but yeah, I think they need a little kick in the ass.
And this is kind of like a rally call for you dashers out there. So me and Joel are really trying to put Dash on the map and do everything that we can, and you will start to see Dash more externally. But one of the things that you can do to really help us out, there's a lot of admin and a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes, and I'm going to kind of be working more behind the scenes. Joel is a fantastic speaker and writer.
Well, clearly so is Mark now. I mean, I don't know about writing, but as far as speaking, clearly so is Mark if he can go get standing ovations in front of Parliament. So I'm just saying, I might have gotten one upped a little bit here.
No, not at all. Not at all. I think you're a fantastic orator. And I think in terms of events and actually going around to conferences is great. But at the same time, what I would like to say to the community is that even in sometimes fintech publications, tech magazines, you see all the journalists on there. We can't just keep complaining no one's writing about Dash. If a lot of these journalists, they actually want to appease their readers. That's their thing. They want their views because that justifies their salaries to their jobs, because they're writers. Most of them freelancers are actually, so they want to make their readers happy. So if you see someone in the fintech and they're talking about something in general that you feel like Dash has already resolved, be friendly, right? Don't go call them trolls or why are you doing this? That doesn't get you anywhere. We're moving into a new phase, professionalism. And that's what the core team do so well. And now when we're having these communications, this is what's going to separate Dash from everyone else. So Joel wants to go on as many podcasts, news, YouTube channels as possible. And
yes. So I always say, just like every fighter, like, man, I don't know, I'm the toughest fighter around. I'll fight anyone, anytime, anywhere. Bring it on, mother. That whole thing that they do, same thing. I'll talk to anyone, anytime, anywhere about anything, specifically Dash related. Just throw me at them. You can just say, hey, do you want to stay up until 2 a.m. to then Skype into India to talk to a whole bunch of school children about blockchain? Oh wait, I did. I mean, I literally just anything. I'll do it. We'll make it happen.
But yeah, so we really, really want to get out there and do more. But my message that I want to convey is that we're only as strong as the community is. We need everyone to be Team Dash. And things are changing and there will be new opportunities, but don't ever come complacent. We can't afford to do that. And actually by fostering good relationships and communicating in a friendly manner, actually helping people out in resources. If you see someone that's talking about, well, recently it's been Venezuela a lot in the news, but if you see something in a finance magazine and they're talking about remittances or rewards, cashback, help them out. Just say like, hey, have you seen this? And link to something. A dashforcenews.com article would be great. Also as well, now me and Joel are going to be more external facing. I don't want everyone to worry about Dashforce News. That is still safe. That's still running. The 7 language, international level, that's still going to be running. And I want to give a big shout out to Justin, who's an absolute beast right now in the articles. We were talking about evolution earlier. He did a great article earlier this week on the Dash DAPI, the decentralized API, with some quotes from Alex Werner as well. And Evan as well from back in the day from 2015. So if you've not read that article, go check it out. In fact, I wouldn't even call that an article. It's kind of more of informative piece. of
it still is an article. It's just not a news story.
yeah. So
Yeah.
definitely check it out.
Isn't it pronounced DePie? It's kind of making me hungry. I want some of the
It's a
DePie.
pie.
Yeah, we probably should wrap it up. But yeah, I also wanted to thank Justin. I'd given him a couple of articles, assignments to work on for this project I'm doing, and he knocked them out of the park. And I got a couple more for next week too.
He's done swimmingly. And definitely he's moving up in the ranks, doing well. Now, we have to give a shout out to our awesome guy, Albert Arellanes, who is our Discover Dash guy. He runs Discover Dash, basically. He uploads all the merchant listings, deals with all that. He deals with meetup contests and other things like that. And he mans the live chat 40 hours a week. So that means anyone can just pop in and just say, hey, and this actually happened like last night. Unfortunately, this was after he went to bed and I was still up. And it was an offline message that was like, hey, how do I, like, I'm in South Africa. How do I use the Rand, trade my Rand for Dash? And unfortunately, now if you're listening to the podcast, you got to go back in the live chat and re-ask that question. But this time, leave your email address because otherwise he can't get back to you. But anyway, he just said that. And so I just quickly went, I'm like, oh, I remember altcoin trader. What is the address? Altcoin.co.za is a South African exchange with a whole bunch of coins, including Dash. I was going to tell them that, and I already looked up Uphold. Uphold services South Africa, but not the South African Rand. So therefore, like, you can go to discoverdash.com, type in your little question. If there's a live chat, you get an answer right away. If it's after hours, leave an email address and we'll get back to you. Look, where do you get that kind of access? You could talk to the decentralized network of Dash and it answers back. Although it's not the network itself, it's R1 service. But that's really great. Shout out to Albert for doing that.
Yeah, there's also that place in Spain or Portugal where you can go and, you know what I'm talking about? Is that what it is? Okay.
And you have a bunch of locations you can go to and buy Dash out of and stuff.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of Albert, he notified us that the discoverdash.com online business directory, where it is free to submit your business as long as it accepts Dash as a payment method, is now over 1,700 merchant listings.
1,728 as of this moment.
Wow.
The rate that merchants are onboarding, it's on a daily basis now. It's not just one or two. We're getting multiple on a daily basis. In fact, every time I tweet about Discover, saying like how many merchants we've got, I have to.
It's outdated.
It. Yeah, it's just like I've only just tweeted out this number and it's gone up another 100. Like,
did you get that list, Mark, from the ATM or who was it?
Right, so I've spoken to Karen from BlockCypher. So Brian is referring to Allo Gateway, and this is really important because we don't often talk about China and the Southeast market. So Allo Gateway is a payment gateway for China, and their main people that utilize the thing. So China Pay is huge. Sorry, China Union Pay is massive in China. That's like the Visa MasterCard of China, just to get that clear so you understand. But their main clients are, from my understanding, are Forex trading kind of websites, and also I believe it's gaming websites as well. So yeah, this is really big. So I have actually emailed, she had sent me an email today actually, and spoke about an upcoming press release that'll probably be next week as well. It's not just us doing the press release. There's so much stuff coming out in Dash. A lot of stuff gets embargoed. When you do the PR, we could probably do a whole hour or two just talking about PR. I think it'll probably bore people. Obviously, you need to be objective, and there's kind of legal boundaries and that sort of stuff. I mean, it's a different world. But there's so much great stuff coming about Dash, and that's why, even though the price has gone up this week, even if we the price didn't go up this week, I'd still be feeling so optimistic because I just know what's coming down the road. And this is such a great time. And I know some people have not been a bit doom and gloom, but where the market's been down a little bit over these months, it's only natural to have a not negative sentiment, but you become a product of your environment, and people can start moaning and pointing fingers at people, But really, the only thing that's going to make that difference is actually by talking and communicating with each other and externally communicating, which is what's happening now. And I think institutional money, which still hasn't really come into the cryptocurrency space as of yet. I mean, you could argue Neptune Dash now with
Fidelity.
Fidelity, like 10-15%. That's amazing. But yeah, now I think we're going to see some big things. And now cryptocurrency is going on like in indices and forex trading websites. I mean, I'm not a big fan of ETFs. Don't forget, there's the not that I don't want to promote this, but over the last year or two, the theme about Bitcoin ETFs always keeps coming up, and there's meant to be another one next month, and apparently a lot of people are saying it's going to get green lighted, where before they're kind of a bit doom and gloom. That's good. Now, I don't like ETFs because it kind of defeats the purpose. Having like a paper receipt or something, like I'd rather actually own the digital currency myself. But
what would you rather do? Have someone not own Dash or someone own a paper receipt of Dash? That's kind of where it's at.
The institutional investors won't come in either. That's the only way that's where you're gonna see the big money.
Yeah. Also, you got to remember this about institutional investment is a lot of. I don't make any assumptions at how this works around the world, but you could put your salary in the US, you can put it into a retirement fund, and you get a massive, is it tax free or it's like a tax break or something like that, like 401ks and stuff. You could put you can put your money into retirement accounts, but if you were just to take the salary and buy crypto directly with it, then there would be tax penalties and things like that, or you wouldn't have that specific advantage. But basically, that means that with institutional investment, with custody, you'll be able to put your investment, your direct retirement investment, into cryptocurrency, and you don't have to hold it because they hold it for you, right? Which obviously, you know how hardcore we are, but the rest of the world who makes, especially in the US, I'm talking from my experience, who make salaries and have retirement accounts and stuff, to just be able to move that into cryptocurrency right now, even if they like cryptocurrency, they're not doing it because they have to put it in a 401k or an IRA or something like that. Now, if they could put it straight into cryptocurrency, like I think the vast majority of people in the United States are going to put some into some kind of cryptocurrency. Can you imagine?
Absolutely. What people need to understand is I've just had to Google something, so I'm not sure this number is right. It's definitely around the right figure. So on a daily basis, Forex, which is currency trading pairs, is typically between $5 and $6 trillion every day. Wow. Now, the reason why I mention this in terms of ETF, so it's also for retail investors as well. It's not just hedge funds, but with hedge funds, they can own stocks, take positions in indices, or but indices markets, whether it's the FTSE 100 in the UK or the DAX 30 in Germany or the New York Stock Exchange, they're only open certain hours of the day. But if you're managing a hedge fund that's potentially hundreds of billions of dollars and you need to execute a position, as we know what geopolitical events are like, you never know what's going to happen. The Forex is the most liquid market, so you can liquidate your positions very, very quickly. So in the terms of financial world, that's incredibly important to have. Now, with cryptocurrency being added to these platforms now, you're going to see speculation like you've never seen before. People have been trading before, but now essentially people can put positions in this. And I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing because, sorry, so you called it futures and options in the US, but just for our British people watching, from my side across the pond, we called it spread betting, just as a legal term. But yeah, so like there's so much opportunity here, and you just know in the next few weeks when this whole Bitcoin ETF thing starts hitting the news and starts even just going on financial publications that don't really typically have anything to do with cryptocurrency, people are going to start the Google trends of like Bitcoin searches and stuff. It's all going to start going up. Once again, this is my personal opinion. This is I'm just trying to be objective here on like news and stuff that's coming out and talking points. But yeah, I think we've seen these patterns, and we on a weekly basis you see a trend, and you'll see like the same kind of news story covered by multiple stories. So I don't know. I think this next month could be really interesting for cryptocurrency.
No.
Would you agree, guys?
I concur. And Peter Schiff, I saw him on Joe Rogan. He was saying that Bitcoin's going to go to 1,000 or something. He just doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yes, more important. I mean, more importantly, I think he willfully doesn't know what he's talking about because he's heavily invested in precious metals, and precious metals are supposed to be. But they're like, but it's not just he's invested; it's just his whole career is around pushing precious metals as an alternative investment to fiat currency, and therefore cryptocurrency is a direct competition to his business model.
Yeah, he's a smart guy, but so is Trace Mayer. Trace Mayer's in the same business as well, and he's a very bullish on crypto. And a lot of other of the metalheads, I'm one myself.
To be fair, I'm still quite a fan of precious metals. It is an alternative currency, and it is a good safe haven asset to have. I think everyone should have some in their portfolio just for wealth preservation. But we're talking about Peter Schiff here, and you're just saying, right, that's his business. However, his business accepts cryptocurrency for gold and silver. So he's actually dependent on the cryptocurrency market. And I believe quite a lot of purchases actually come from cryptocurrency. So if we didn't have that market, I'm not sure his business would be as viable as it is right now. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, and silver's getting hit hard, and gold has too here recently. I mean, silver's like under $15.30 or something. They've been hit pretty hard. Yeah, Peter, he should have diversified a little bit, 1% for God's sake, into crypto. And if he would have done that, he would be on the crypto bandwagon, I believe. So yeah, let's wrap it up.
Cool. Well, times are a changing, and the dashing in is a happening.
Yes. Be careful. You might miss it. And by the way, for all the viewers, I'm talking to you guys who might have accidentally stumbled across this link and are just like, well, what are these people talking about? They look like losers. No one cares about Dash. Pay attention. Keep watching. I'm just saying, keep watching. There's some interesting stuff happening. I had some haters when we're talking about. We actually just got a message in the live chat. Why should I buy Dash? Well, sir, I assume you should buy Dash. You should do your own research on what you want to do. But why you should be interested, I'm not talking about buying Dash or holding Dash or things like that. However, you should be involved with Dash if you believe in uncensorable, sound money. And you believe not just in it conceptually, not just in a technically working product, but you want every last person on this whole green earth and blue ocean, seasteaders included, right, as long as they have a good internet connection, to be able to use peer-to-peer digital cash, transact with anyone anywhere in the world for just pennies on the dollar, hopefully less than that, and have no one be able to stop that. If you want to see the world interconnected by the best payment network in the absolute world, and much, much more than that, if you want to see a financially free world, which will lead to the rest of a free world, the whole promise of decentralized cryptocurrency, and you want to pick the winner, the one that will get there in terms of actually being used, you need to look into Dash. And I'm not going to convince you of it more. I just say go to dashforcenews.com, go there several times a week until you're convinced. Bam.
Chill.
That's a great way of saying it. Dash is the gift of financial freedom. So it's true. It's not just about taking back full control and becoming your own bank. There's distinct advantages. But I'm always a big fan of the driving test. Although I'm a huge Dash cheerleader, when I'm speaking to friends and family, I say, like, look at the top cryptos, try them all out. Look at the usability, look at where you can spend it, look at how long it takes to do the transactions, look at the fees, try them all out. And often it's actually, so many people already know about Bitcoin and blockchain, but they haven't purchased it or actually done any crypto transactions. But there is something very tangible when you have that first wallet and you do that transaction. People have that light bulb moment. It's not scary anymore. And once they've done it, it's kind of like, wait, there's no middlemen. And now it's like less than a penny. That's why it's really important, community, to tip people in Dash. If you're in a restaurant and you're in the States where, you know, you guys like to tip over there in your culture, say, say like, you know, can I tip you like $10-20 in Dash, or, you know, set up on a wallet, because that opens up new doors, those new conversations. I do it with taxi drivers over here. I'm still happy to, you know, to pay in dinosaur paper money, but I just say, hey, can I give you a tip in digital currency as well? What's that? Well, let me just set you up with a wallet. I'll send you some, and I'm gonna bookmark these websites, dashforcenews.com, dash.org, and you can go there, and these are the resources. Look into it. If you've got any questions, you can find us on Twitter, everything else, and we've got a community channels that are listed on the website. Talk to people. But now you've got this money and you've given them $10-20 and they've got it on their phone. I get the same story every time. They're now then looking at it on a daily basis to see if the price has gone up and down, and they become hooked, almost like coin market cap, just refreshing the price. Now that's not what it's about, but sometimes you need to plant that seed to start that journey process, and everyone has to go through that self-discovery of learning about crypto. You can't just tell people what to believe. I'm not just going to say like you should use Dash because it's the best in the world. It's like, use it, and then you will understand, and then, you know, whether it works for you or it doesn't, but you will see the distinct advantages over the legacy banking system and how it's resolving issues around the world. And please, if you're new to Dash, thank you for watching the channel. Please like, share, and subscribe to this video, and follow it. We always share news. We always talk about everything else. We always do this every Friday, live chat, take questions. Typically, we have guests on from the core team outside. Last week, we had Paul Poy from Edge Secure Wallet CEO. Fantastic guy, so much technical knowledge. So we have some really cool people on. And we're all about having a conversation. It's all about having a dialogue. We're not here to tell you what to think. We're here to talk about the news. And we all actually have different opinions, right? We don't always agree on everything. Correct?
That's why with the whole pitch me on Dash type thing, I could tell you some stuff, but it's like, why should I buy? Should I buy? It's like, well, that's not something that it's our decision to make. We can, you know, you can lead a horse to water, can't make him drink. We can just show you like, all right, well, this is what we've been up to. This is what's going on. This is how it's being used. And if you're just like, yeah, but I'm going to waiting around, see what this Lightning Network turns into something. It's just like, we did our part. Not everyone has to be on the right side of history at the beginning. Some people can be latecomers. That's okay. Don't feel too bad if that's you. Just say we warned you.
You know, you're still an early adopter.
Yeah, we're all still early adopters. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Next
After
time,
party.
the same Dash time, same Dash channel.
Yes. Joel, do you want to take us out this week? You can sign us out.
Yeah. Remember, if you are watching this, you care about cryptocurrency. If you care about cryptocurrency, look into Dash. If you are sold on Dash and you have some, etc., use it and get more. Use it every day. You like the idea of privacy, but you have Dash and you're not using private send. I used it 8 times yesterday. Come on. Pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers. Let's get them up. Just start living your principles, and Dash should be the easiest way, the most cost-effective way, the best, smoothest way for you to live your principles. If you don't have principles, get some. Signing off. Bye, guys.
Stay dashy. Have a good weekend. Thanks.